about probiotics, need of the day. I request the speaker to begin. Thank you. Ma'am, please start.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Dr. Malashree, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Dairy Microbiology, and the college name is Dairy Science College, located at Hebbar, Bangalore, and it belongs to Karnataka Veterinary, Animal and Fisheries Sciences University, headquartered at Bidar. So, my topic for the day is probiotic, which is need of the day. Yes, we all know that microorganisms are ubiquitous in nature, meaning it is present everywhere, and though they are invisible to the eye, they will be playing a major three roles, that is spoilage role, beneficial role, and pathogenic role. So spoilage role, we know that some of the microorganisms present in the environment will cause some spoilage in the food and make them unfit for the consumption. Whereas the pathogenic role is nothing but so many health deteriorating microorganisms which are called as pathogens are present in the environment that affects the public health or even the livestock health, etc. When it comes to the beneficial role, so the microorganisms, some are grouped into straticulture also, and some beneficial microorganisms are grouped into probiotic also. So the straticultures are the one which are the selected strains, and those are deliberately added in the fermentation process, either of milk or any other non-dairy products, and that fermentation should result in the desired characteristics of the final products. So those are called as starter cultures, whereas the probiotic organisms are nothing but these are the health beneficial microorganisms. So we know that 70% of our immunity is always almost from our gut health. So our intestine should have a good or health beneficial bacteria. Hence, the term probiotic is more related to that. And so let us know what is the need of the probiotics today. So in this presentation, I'll be covering introduction about the probiotics, and then some little history about how the development of probiotic took place, and exact definition of probiotic, what are the characteristics of probiotics, and what are the criteria to be considered when we want to declare a microorganism as a probiotic. So some criteria are there, some guidelines are there, so that has to be followed. And then we'll see what are the health benefits of this probiotic, especially for human health. And then we'll see some of the probiotic products, including both dairy and non-dairy, and finally future prospecting and also concluding remarks. So we know that food is the fundamental need of a every living being, living thing on the earth. So, and today the people are very conscious about their diet. So they are after balanced diet, nutritious diet, keto diet, smart diet, so many things. All the thing refers to the food which is composed of all types of nutrients like fat, carbohydrates, lipids, moisture content, mineral content, trace elements. All those things should be in the present in the food, and that is called as a balanced food. And then we know that if we eat very healthy food, so then our gut health will be very good. So our gut gastrointestinal tract is a zoo of both good and bad type of bacteria. So when a baby is born, so that time the microorganisms which are already present in the intestine are called as autochthonous microflora, and the microorganisms which give entry to the intestine or gut gastrointestinal tract through various foods and water and any other sources, like even maybe a plant origin, animal origin food, etc. So they are called as allochthonous microflora. So when we maintain a good microbial balance in the gastrointestinal tract. So that is a mixture, a balance between both pathogenic and good bacteria. Then the phenomenon is called as eubiosis. And how to maintain this eubiosis means majorly by consuming more and more fermented food products, because in fermented food products these beneficial microorganisms either in the form of straticultures or in the form of probiotics will be present. In the 20th century, Eli Metnikov, who is known as the father of fermented milks, he found some of the lactic acid bacteria present in a soured milk. Soured milk means fermented milk. And then he hypothesized that these consumption of these fermented milk or soured milk help in improving the quality of life. So let us know the definition of the term probiotics. So this probiotic word is originated from Latin or Greek. So where the term pro means before or forward and bios means life. So altogether probiotics are life promoting microorganisms. And in general terms, probiotics are nothing but very common definition. We can say that probiotics are nothing but beneficial bacteria. And since from long, I mean, traditionally, the two main types of genus are belonging to this probiotic category are lactobacilli and bifidobacteria. In 2023, it is estimated that public awareness and acceptance of probiotics industry growth is about 7% annually. So if we talk about a little history about the probiotic. So in 1907, Eli Metnikov, who is called as even the father of probiotics, he found the lactic acid producing bacteria in fermented milk products. And later in 1965, Lilly and Stilwell coined the term probiotic. And in 1899 itself, Henry Tisser, who was a pediatrician at Paris, he isolated this bifidobacteria from the breastfed infants feces, because in the mother's milk there will be a bifidogen factor which helps in the growth of the bifidobacteria. And these bifidobacteria are always in Y shape, V shape, and they will be present in a palisade format. In 1970, probiotics introduced to dairy industry in the form of bio yogurt. So yogurt is nothing but it is a in Western countries, normally what we eat, no, this dahi or curd in our Indian tradition. So that in Western countries, it is called as yogurt. So bio yogurt means it's a fermented milk with living organisms, especially the straticulture and probiotic culture are called as bio yogurt. Fuller in 1989 defined probiotic as a live microbial feed supplement which beneficially affects the host animal by improving its intestinal microbial balance. So by upon consumption of these live health beneficial microorganisms, our intestinal microflora will be balanced and our immunity will be very good, and then overall health of the human being will be up to the mark. So WHO and FAO has given a proper definition for the probiotics in the year 2001. That is, these are the live microorganisms which when administered in adequate amounts confers a health beneficial on the host. That means live health beneficial microorganisms, and that should be taken in a required amount. It is not that if you have taken very less quantity or less microbial cells, that may not confers the health benefit to the consumer or onto the host. So there should be enough, okay, microbial cells, and those microbial cells when they reaches the intestine, so they start producing the secondary metabolites, and then those secondary metabolites will be giving so many health beneficial effects. So lactic acid bacteria majorly, okay, and then Bifidobacteria are the most common types of microorganisms used as probiotics, and recently even under fungi, that is especially under yeast also, there are proven probiotics, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae and Saccharomyces boulardii. So these probiotics are generally recognized as safe by USA, and also belongs to species with a qualified presumption of safety, that is QPS status with the European Food Safety Authority. So as I'm telling about the two terms straticultures and probiotics, so generally all straticultures can be probiotics, but all probiotics cannot be straticultures. So as I've told you, straticultures means the selected strains of microorganisms which are used in the fermentation of milk, and after fermentation that should give the desired final characteristics of the final fermented products. So majorly all these straticultures will be from lactic acid bacterial group, and among those only so many strains are proved as probiotics, whereas some non-lactic acid bacteria are also proved as probiotic. Example, Bacillus coagulans and Bacillus cereus, and then Clostridium species, and even this Escherichia coli. So all this doesn't belong to lactic acid bacterial group. They can be, they are also, they're already proved as probiotic, but these strains cannot be used in the production of fermented products. That means all probiotics are not straticultures. So the different genus which comes under probiotics are Streptococcus genus, Bulgaricus genus, Propionibacterium, Bifidobacterium, Lactobacillus, and Lactococcus. So these are some of the genus and strains or species which belongs to the different genera. So under Lactobacillus genus, we have Lactobacillus acidophilus, amylovirus, KCI, crispatus, then Lactobacillus delbrueckii, subspecies bulgaricus, gasseri, johnsoni, paracaceae, plantarum, ruteri, and rhamnosus. So under Bifidobacterium species, we have Bifidobacterium adolescentes, animalis, Bifidum, brevi, infantis, and lactes. So other than this lactic acid bacteria, the species like Enterococcus faecalis, Faecium, Lactococcus lactis, Leuconostoc mesenteroides, Pediococcus acidulacti, Sporolactobacillus, Inulinus, and Streptococcus thermophilus are comes under other lactic acid bacteria. And non-lactic acid bacteria are Bacillus cereus, coagulans, Escherichia coli, Propionibacterium frodentii. Then under yeast, we have Saccharomyces cerevisiae and Saccharomyces boulardii. So in order to recognize a microorganism as a probiotic, okay, so there are some criteria for selection of the probiotics. The first one is the source from where the culture is isolated. So that means, so whether the microorganism is isolated from human origin, animal origin, or from the soil or water, anything. Okay, so that source is very important because they are host specific. Means if the probiotic organism is isolated from the human origin, then that organism should be only used for the human health benefits. Same way, if it is isolated from the animal origin, then those strains are active to the animal group only. So that is the meaning of probiotics are host specific. Then the second point is they should be capable of passing in live condition in the GIT, gastrointestinal tract. So when once we eat the microorganisms, and then through the food, it reaches the esophagus, and then it reaches the stomach, then the different parts of the gastrointestinal tract like small intestine, the large intestine, etc. So throughout this line, it should tolerate the gastric acids, and it should tolerate to low pH also, and it should be tolerant to those probiotic organisms should not get affected by the digestive enzymes present in the epithelial cells of the intestine, and also it should be tolerant to lysozyme activity. So lysozyme, so it will be having this antibacterial effect, so that is by degrading the cell wall of the microorganisms. So these probiotics should not get affected by the lysozyme. And third point, we have capability. Probiotics should be capable of persistence in live condition in the GIT. Again, it should tolerate the bile salt concentrations present in the liver, and then it should resistant to low surface tension. That means they should have a good cell surface hydrophobicity. They should attach to the epithelial cells. Microorganisms should attach to the epithelial cells of the intestine by having a good surface tension, and they should also be tolerant to the phenolic compounds produced as a metabolites, and they should be ability to intestinal implantation. That is what, so the microorganism should implant, means it should colonize in the epithelial cells of the gastrointestinal tract by producing some exopolysaccharide substances, so that helps in attaching to the epithelial cell surfaces, and we can call it as a biofilm formation. Okay, that means colonization leads to biofilm formation, meaning that all these microorganisms will be grown by forming colonies throughout the surfaces. And also that the implantation requires this hydrogen bonding and surface hydrophobicity. These probiotic organisms should also tolerate to temperature, salt, and sugar. This is with respect to industry or product preparation. So we know that most of the milk and milk products which are considered to be which as a probiotic undergoes various temperatures. Okay, so at this temperature the microorganism viability probiotic organism viability should not be uh, viability should not go off. So hence that should resistant to the different temperature, and there will be addition of some salts and sugars in the product, fermented products. And during this time also, these substances like salt and sugar should not affect the viability of the probiotic organisms. And one more important criteria to be a probiotic is resistance to antibiotics. So when the human beings are suffering from any of the health diseases, so they'll consume most of the antibiotics. So during this time, the antibiotics should not kill the probiotic organisms in the gut. And also, meanwhile, they should be capable of producing antimicrobial substances like niacin, colicin, etc. These antimicrobial substances should fight against the pathogenic organisms, and safety of the probiotic organism is most important. So some side effects are there with respect to consumption of more and more probiotics. That is like allergic reactions, bloating, and then abdominal pain, and also some fungal infections in the immune suppressed people, etc. So coming to the characteristics of the probiotics, so almost similar to that criteria only. So the able to survive the passage through the digestive system, and then it should attach to the epithelial cells of the intestine, and should maintain a good viability. That is most important. Okay, to confer that health benefits, higher microbial load should be present in the product also, and then in the gut also, able to utilize the nutrients and substrates in the normal diet. So we take food with the nutrients, and that even contains prebiotics. So prebiotics are nothing but these are the food for probiotic organisms. So the food which is rich with the prebiotic organisms will help in more and more growth of the or multiplication of the probiotic organisms in the gut, and capable of exerting beneficial effect on the host. So once higher viability is found in the intestine, so that will exert a beneficial effect on health and health effects on the host, and it should be safe to the host, and non-toxic, non-pathogenic, and it must be resistant to hydrochloric acid and bile and pancreatic juice, and it should have anti-carcinogenic activity. It should produce lactic acid, and that is most important for lactose intolerance people who lacks this lactase enzyme to convert the milk and milk products into lactic acid, lactose into lactic acid. So hence they will not be liking this milk and milk products. So by converting that lactose into lactic acid through probiotic organisms, we can come overcome with this lactose intolerance, uh, this thing. And it should retain viability during storage and usage, and it should stimulate the immune system of the body, and should have the ability to colonize in the GIT. So what are the advantage of these probiotics? So since they produce the lactic acid, so this lactic acid results in the lower pH of the intestine. So once the pH is reduced to the acidic condition, so whatever the pathogenic or unwanted bacterial load is there in the gut are inhibited. So it will have antimicrobial activity. Example, the pathogenic organisms in the gut would be Clostridium, Salmonella, Shigella, E. coli, etc. And these probiotic helps in decreasing the production of variety of toxic and carcinogenic metabolites, and especially these probiotic helps in mineral absorption like calcium due to intestinal acidity, increased intestinal acidity, and production of beta galactosidase enzyme that break down the lactose, produce a wide range of antimicrobial substances like acidophilin and bacteriocin that help to control the pathogenic bacteria. Probiotic organisms also produces vitamins like vitamin B and K, and the colonization is very important in the intestine to prevent against harmful bacteria. Okay, some of the factors which influence the intestinal microbiota with respect to human beings. So during the infancy stage, so mother's microflora means the food the mother has taken during her pregnancy also matters the initial intestinal microbiota of the baby. So that means she has to consume more and more fermented milk products. And mode of birth, yes, again the consume today, the research is going on with respect to gut to brain axis, uh, where the research is like even the microorganisms, probiotic microorganisms are also helping the natural delivery than the C-section. And feeding practices, obviously a baby should be fed with the mother milk at least for 6 months, where the intestinal microflora of the baby will be enriched. And later in the stages, if a human being comes across many of the microbial infections, immunity goes off, and then they will be immune compromised. Then consumption of more and more antibiotics also influence the intestinal microbiota. And if you are having a very poor diet without any fiber content, and if you are using highly processed food, that also leads to intestinal imbalance in the microbiota and chronic diarrhea and stress. Yes. So even today, the research is about psychobiotics. So we have probiotic, prebiotics, symbiotic, psychobiotics, postbiotics, etc. So psychobiotics are the one where these probiotics are used to overcome mental disorders, mental illness, especially lactobacillus acidophilus and bifidobacterium bifidum. These two strains are used for psychobiotics. Then chlorinated water, so the water which is with the bleaching powder, chlorinated means that calcium hypochlorite is used during the sanitation of the water. So that will also cause the intestinal microbiota imbalance. Radiation and chemotherapy during some cancer treatment and all, and colonic therapies for detoxification also affects the intestinal microflora. So when there is an imbalance in the intestinal microbiota, it leads to two complication of the gut, that is eubiosis and dysbiosis. Eubiosis means Uh, it is a healthy balance of the microflora in the gut, gastrointestinal tract, where dysbiosis means the pathogenic organisms will be more than the beneficial one. So this quantity of pathogenic organisms becomes more harmful, and this is found during antibiotic treatment for the longer time and chemotherapy. So in order to maintain this gut balance very healthily, we need to go for consumption of probiotic foods, prebiotic foods, and symbiotic foods. So probiotics, we know that live microorganisms which when administered in adequate amounts confers the health benefits. Example, lactobacilli and bifidobacteria and Saccharomyces boulardii. And prebiotics are the dietary fibers or carbohydrates that cannot be digested by other microflora except probiotic, promoting their growth. Whereas symbiotic is a combination of both probiotic and prebiotic. If we consume all these three, our intestinal microbiota will be balanced. That means will be in a eubiosis condition. Yes, WHO and also FAO has recommended to consume 100 gram of probiotic food every day that must contain 10 per 8 CFU per gram of the product. So if we consume this product every day, I think probiotic revolution will begin, and it will become a habit that can really benefit our overall health. So who should take the probiotics? So normally, so the people who are suffering from yeast infections and including athletes foods, jock itch and vaginal yeast infections, nail fungus, all such people are supposed to consume probiotics. And the immunocompromised people and who are having all these respiratory infections and congestions, allergies, and people suffering from inflammatory bowel disorders, constipation, or intestinal infections. So, coming to the major point of the presentation, that is health benefits of probiotic. So, need of the day means why we require. Okay, so since all the probiotic organisms have this health beneficial effect, so we need to consume the probiotic organisms every day. So let us know what are the health benefits. So they should have antimicrobial properties, means they should kill the unwanted or harmful or pathogenic organisms present in the gut or intestine, and helps in giving more immunity. Anti-mutagenic effect means, so mutation. So mutation is changing the DNA structure. So these probiotics also exhibit anti-mutagenic effect, improved lactose digestion. I've told about lactose intolerance, anti-carcinogenic effect. So that is, probiotics helps in preventing cancer by preventing the breakdown of the enzyme, that is beta glucuronidase, that contribute to the growth of the cancer causing agents. Then it also anti-cholesteremic or lower serum cholesteremic level. So probiotics break down the bile in the gut, thus inhibiting the reabsorption. So otherwise, that bile will enters the blood as a cholesterol. Management of diarrhea, immune system stimulation by production of a variety of immunoglobulins, and probiotic helps in lowering the blood pressure. That is, probiotic produces ACE inhibition like peptides in the fermented products. So it is recommended to consume more and more fermented milk products to bring down the blood pressure. And management of inflammatory bowel diseases, control of urinary tract infection, and prevention of many of the allergies like um, asthma conditions, etc. So it is FSSA, Food Safety Standard Authority of India, has recommended to consume 100 gram of probiotic food that should contain 10 per 8 cells CFU per gram. So most probiotic do not permanently adhere in the intestine but exert their effect as they metabolize and grow during their passage through the intestine. So some of the probiotic examples of probiotic products includes traditional fermented products, non-fermented milk products, and blending with the yogurt cultures, etc. and blending with other cultures, concentrated products and dried products, that is probiotic in the form of tablets, baby foods, capsules, powders, and blending in other products, acidophilus, cream, probiotic cheese, and probiotic fruit juices. Other than the dairy, some non-dairy probiotic rich foods are yogurt. So it is normally Indian curd. Okay, but in case of yogurt, two main starter culture will be there. That is Streptococcus thermophilus and Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Kefir, it is also prepared from milk, and that is it is called as milk, milk fermented milk, and it will be a combination of both starter culture bacteria and some yeast, Saccharomyces kefir. Okay, so there will be a symbiotic association in the product between the bacteria and yeast. And buttermilk, every day we are consuming, and cheeses. So during the preparation of the cheeses, there will be addition of starter cultures, and today we are adding some probiotic organisms also. And when we keep the cheese for ripening or maturing, so their multiplication will be increasing. So then sauerkraut is nothing but fermented cabbage, and kimchi is also fermented vegetables. Miso is fermented soya milk product. Tempeh is fermented soya bean, and brain pickle. So you might have seen in many of the markets, stores, and big bazaars and all. So there will be pickles in the brain solution. Kombucha is fermented black tea, fermented veggies. Natto is again fermented whole soya bean with a Bacillus subtilis. And salt of raw milk and cheese, lassi, and apple cider and vinegar. All these products comes under probiotic rich foods. So we know that one of the familiar probiotic product, that is Yakult, which is originated from the Japan. It's a sweetened probiotic milk beverage fermented with a bacterial strain, Lacticaceae Bacillus caseae shirota. And probiotic, it's a probiotic cultured dairy beverage. It has a citrus flavor, and almost sold in a single shot with a 65 ml. Okay, sorry. I've written 60 ml. It is 65 ml, and that 65 ml of the Yakult drink contains 6.5 billions of live and active KZI Shirota. Okay. So future perspectives, the probiotics play a major role in future in addressing current and emerging healthcare challenges, including those caused by microbes. And in the future, probiotics may be increasingly used as alternative growth promoting and health enhancing preventatives due to their modulating effect on the animal immunity, gut microbiota, and also feed intake and productivity. So these probiotics provides protective effects against the multi-drug resistance infection via effects within the microbiome, epithelial barrier, and immune system. Still more clinical studies are need to be in the pipeline with respect to the human diseases. Furthermore, probiotics and their antimicrobial byproducts are being investigated as novel future alternatives to antibiotics. So at last, I would like to conclude that probiotic foods are even promising as modern consumers are worried to maintain their personal health and expect the food that they eat to be healthy and capable of preventing illness. So the research results will probably be essential for positioning of probiotics preparation as either a food supplementer, or in pharmaceutical industries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the questions from the participants now.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
first question is, what are some common sources of probiotics in our diet, and are supplements necessary to achieve optimal probiotic intakes?
Pardon, ma'am?
I'll repeat the question, ma'am.
Yes,
What are
ma'am.
some common sources of probiotics in our diet, and are supplements necessary to achieve Optimal probiotic intake.
So you're asking whether the common sources what we are taking every day is
Yeah,
enough
in
to get the
our,
health
yeah,
benefits,
yeah,
or should we
yeah,
take, should we
yeah.
go for supplements?
Supplements.
That's what, ma'am. Actually, normally whatever we eat every day, no, like curd or cheese, and even the pickle, and even this dosa batter, idli, all this contains microorganism. I mean probiotic organisms. So if you are consuming those regularly, then your gut will be good enough with the probiotic organisms, and as default, you will be getting the health benefits. So when your immunity is not up to the mark, so that indicates your intestine is not loaded with a good bacteria or beneficial bacteria. In such cases, the doctors or nutritionist will advise you to go with the probiotic supplements.
Okay. I'll move to the next question. Are there any specific strains or types of probiotics that are more beneficial for certain health concerns? And how can consumers navigate wide variety of probiotic products available in the market?
I didn't get you, ma'am, actually. Sorry.
Are there any specific types of probiotics that are more beneficial
Types of
for,
probiotics.
yeah, more
Yeah.
beneficial for certain health concerns?
Yes, ma'am. Already in most of the industries, like even Christian Danson and Nestle, some even the lactogens, all these industries are producing probiotics only. So we can in the it already they are available in the market. So we
Mm.
can purchase and we can consume those for health benefits.
What are the challenges and future directions in probiotic research, including the exploration of personalized probiotics and their impact on individual health outcomes?
Actually, today the probiotic has research has become a vast subject. Though it is like what we say, old wine in a new bottle concept. So by keeping the probiotic itself as a base, so many new studies, as I've said in the mid of the presentation, like psychobiotics, postbiotics, metabiotics, all these things have come uh, up today. Though that means the future, but only thing, so still more in vivo studies, clinical studies need to be conducted, and then we need to see that all the beneficial effects, what we say, no, health beneficial effects of probiotics, like anti-aging, we are saying today, anti-diabetic, anti-hypertensive, anti-cancer. See, so this cancer don't have treatment. I mean, there is no medicine for cancer, but the probiotic organisms are doing well in curing cancers also. Okay, so all these things are still in the literature form, but it has to be authenticated by proper research and data.
Okay. How do lifestyle factors such as diet, stress, and exercise influence the effectiveness of probiotics? And what are some practical tips for incorporating probiotic rich foods into everyday meals?
Yeah, our lifestyle, especially in COVID, also we might have seen. So there should not be sedentary life, right? So if we are more physically active, so that helps in a good exercise to the epithelial cells of the intestine, and as a result, there will be production of some chemicals, enzymes, and those in turn will help in the multiplication of the microorganisms. And even this physical activity will will make you so hunger, and in that case, when you consume very good nutritious product, especially the food rich in prebiotic substances, so there also, by utilizing those prebiotic organisms, the microorganisms will multiply. Probiotic microorganisms will multiply in the gut intestine. And then another factor is this stress, no? So yes, so our mental health is almost related to even the gut microflora. As I've said that our whole body activity or daily activity will be mainly, it is the connection between our brain and gut. If your gut is very healthy, then your mental health will be very healthy and your activity throughout the day will be very healthy. So if you are simply stressed, and then whatever those chemicals or hormones will be produced during the tension or stress or frustration, anxiety, all this will have effect on the probiotic organisms, I mean gut microflora in the intestine.
Okay. In what way can healthcare professionals and policymakers promote awareness and education about probiotics to ensure safe and informed usage about the general public among the general population?
Yes, actually, nowadays, I think compared to back, so nowadays the people are more conscious about the food, nutrition, everything, and now they are even available, aware about this probiotic organism, probiotic food also, and probiotic organism also. So Yakult was developed in 1950s only, but I think in India recently it has come to the market, and people are aware, especially the aged people, by knowing the health benefits they are consuming more and more, and even marketability is going good. And some other industries like Akshay Kalpa, Nestle, or and even KMF, all these have come up with the new and new probiotic products: probiotic buttermilk, probiotic cheese, probiotic pickle, so like this probiotic curd. So a different variety of probiotic products are there in the market today. And even this um, advertisement is most important actually through the media. And at least conducting some seminars, conferences, symposia, workshops, webinar about the probiotic will also help in giving awareness about the probiotics and probiotic foods to the consumers.
Okay. How do probiotics interact with the antibiotics and what role do they play in preventing antibiotics associated side effects like diarrhea?
Yeah. So antibiotic, as we know that when we suffer from any of the diarrheal travelers diarrheal syndrome or any colonic bowel syndrome, so that indicates that most of the pathogenic organisms are present in the intestine, and they're producing the different types of toxins. And those toxins are majorly, when it is related to the intestine, then the toxin type is called as enterotoxin. Okay, so once we consume this probiotic organisms, so before consumption, so we are supposed to kill all those probiotic organisms, all those pathogenic organisms by consuming antibiotics. So first these antibiotics will kill the unwanted or harmful pathogenic organisms, and later on we are supposed to consume the probiotic organism to make up the intestine microflora with a good probiotic microorganism.
Okay. Ma'am, can you please tell us about yourself? What is your education and career background? And what made you take an interest in this particular field?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, after 12th, no, so we are supposed to take the CET exam, entrance exam as usual. And in that, if we are interested in this farm sciences courses, I mean, it may be veterinary science, dairy science, agriculture science, horticulture, forestry, sericulture, and fishery sciences. All these branches comes under farm sciences. So, other than the medical and engineering fields, I was interested in this form science. So I was actually interested to take this agriculture, but finally I thought of switching on to this dairy science. So I completed my dairy science, that is 4-year technical program, BTech in dairy technology, at Dairy Science College located in Bangalore, Hebbal. And then I completed my master's MTech Dairy Microbiology at one of the topmost agriculture university, that is National Dairy Research Institute, located at Karnal, Haryana state. And then again I got a permanent job in the same parent college, that is at Hebbal only. And in between, in internal deputation, I completed my PhD also from 2017 to 2021. So right now I am engaged in teaching UG students, that is undergraduate student, postgraduate student, and also I am giving training for some of the outside students who comes for their degree requirement training. And also I'm actively involved in agriculture and dairy extension work, research work, and also I'm guiding master's degree students.
That's very nice to hear about you, ma'am. Thank you very much. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank Dr. Malashree L for the talk and for answering the questions. This meeting will now be closed.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're most welcome.